Hi everyone. Happy Fridays with me. Hey, Steph.
Hey, Neen. Fridays with Neen. Fridays with Neen. Every day is Fridays with Neen.
Wow. Aw, happy Friday. How are you, Steph?
We made it, damn it. Happy Friday. I'm great. I'm fabulous. I have like allergies or whatever the hell, like right here. That's what I'm gonna say it is, and that's it. So yay. Other than that, I'm fantabulous.
Freaking sucks, but you know what? It's very possible, if you hear me, that it could be allergies though, because it's weird. Like we were kind of feeling like when you got back from Canada, like we both were feeling kind of sick, right? But for me, it didn't go into my chest or become like not at all my throat. It was just up in the nose area. It was weird.
Yeah, and for me, like it's like the feeling of exhaustion. Like whenever I'm like overly tired,
Hmm.
my body kind of shuts down, and so I try not to get myself overly tired to avoid this feeling because I don't like feeling like this. And it's okay. Like I'm just, I'm fine, like I'm gonna test and make sure like everything's okay because I still haven't gotten my booster. Hi, how are you? Okay. Or my flu shot. Hi, how
I,
are you?
I haven't either. I'm like, you know what it is I think about getting it and then I'm like, oh, but I don't want to get sick. Like even that 24-hour sickness, I don't want to feel
Yes. Well, I have to plan my life around it, and I haven't been around like on the weekend. So I
it.
was thinking I could go maybe tomorrow, but Sunday I'm busy. And then I was like, well, maybe I can see, then it turns into like the following week. It's just a mess. So
Did you get offered or are you, I don't know who they offered to, because I thought it was for older people, but Brandy got it. The pneumonia shot.
I don't want that. That scares me. I mean, I want it, but like, no, I didn't get offered that.
I know, I don't
Oh, I'm
know.
confusing it with shingles. Sorry.
Oh
Go
yeah,
ahead.
that's you though. You don't want that.
No, I don't want any of it. Okay. I want to be healthy as a horse. The hell?
I'm like, but the pneumonia shot, I was like, I didn't know that. I thought they offer that to people like over like 60,
I thought
but
so
she
too.
had it offered to her, and I was like, I was like, I don't know, maybe it's because she has like, I don't know, because I've had pneumonia twice.
Oh shit,
Um,
Neen.
yeah, or three times. I was born with pneumonia. I literally, yeah, and I was in the hospital for like, I didn't come home for a week.
I didn't know this.
I know. It was really sad when my mom tells me the story.
Oh, honey, that makes my heart hurt a
Oh,
little bit.
right? I'm like, oh, but yeah, so I'm like, and I know my lungs are scarred from it because every time I get an x-ray, they're like, they see like these shadows and they're like, and I'm like, what is it? And they're like, have you had any? And I'm like, oh, and they're like, I go, yeah. And they're like, oh, okay, you're good. And I'm like, oh my God. So, I mean, I would totally get the pneumonia shot for myself if that was an option. I just thought it was something they give to older people, but maybe they're just giving it things away because I know even RSV is one.
Oh my God. You know what? Let me just go spend. I need to just book my day and go because, I mean, don't get me wrong, we're stocked to the nines with tests in the
Yeah.
bathroom. So every time I feel a tickle, I'm like, uh-uh, let's check this shit out. I'm sorry. I don't
Oh
have
my
time.
God. I know, right? Neither do I. I'm telling you, but it's crazy because I was reading something about COVID and how like it's coming in like people are getting stomach issues and
Oh,
that's like a
goody.
symptom. And I'm like, I swear anything, like,
Well,
my foot itches. Oh my God, is it COVID?
no, exactly. Did you hear about where is it? The East Bay where they're now like the school district out there is like if a child has COVID, they can still go to school.
I read that yesterday.
Who are the parents sending their kids? I mean, I
Yes,
guess it's the same
exactly.
parents that send it with colds or
Yeah.
whatever, because that's what they equate it to. It's the new version of a cold. Okay, be that as it may, whatever the hell. Don't send your kid to school. Hi, how about that?
Yeah, exactly. Regardless if it's like you said, if it's COVID, if it's a regular cold, it doesn't matter. But like, I don't want my kid to come home with a cold, period.
This is
You
why kids are called walking sick
know?
vessels. Yes, because literally, like, you know what? I had really good grades in school and I missed a lot of school because every time I had a tickle in my throat, my dad was like, you're staying home.
Mhm.
Like,
Oh, totally.
and I
I
survived.
Yeah, for real. I missed teleschool, not because I was sick, but because I go. I mean, I was sick a lot though. I was a sickly kid,
Yeah.
but it was just, I don't know now, like even with Presley, I don't let her stay home at all. Like no excuse unless you're sick.
Okay.
And and she has to have like no fever. Like if she has a fever, she's not allowed to go to school, right?
Okay.
Um, but like obviously if she has a cough and she's coming off of a cold, then that's fine. But I don't know though, like if you have a runny nose, kids aren't clean a lot of times, they wipe their nose and then they touch things and I don't know. That's one thing I won't miss about Presley getting older is the sickness during the school year. I can't,
Mm,
it gives me anxiety.
I don't blame you. I'd be terrified too.
Yeah, because
Because
she's
you
a
don't
horrible
know.
sick kid.
Oh, baby. I love her so much.
Like Tony.
It's okay, Birdie.
I Oh my gosh. I swear. Yeah, no, it sucks though. I mean, and I feel for parents because it's a lot, but I don't even know how that it's kind of like when they said that you could be positive but still go out in public. Like
Yeah.
after, you only have to stay like away from people for like 3 days or something like that. And it's just like
No,
I don't know. I mean, I know it's the norm now, something we have to get used to, but it's still
people
it's
are still weird. I'd be weird. I'd feel weird if somebody knowingly was like if we had plans to go somewhere and we like dinner, like let's go to dinner.
Mhm.
Oh, P.S. I have COVID right now. They're just like wilding out, no mask. It's but I feel the same way about a flu. Like get the fuck away from me. We
Yeah,
can see each other
no.
next time.
It's,
No.
it's not the and I'm like I try to be super considerate and even if it means that you're gonna call me like a flake, but if I have a sniffle or if I have a tickle in my throat, I'm gonna tell you because I'm not gonna be that person to like
Yeah.
around you and be sick and then just spread it. Like
Yeah.
regardless if it's COVID or not. Like I just think
Right.
that's so rude. Or even like having like a stomach bug, you know?
Anything.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, stomach bug.
Like,
My poor angel was sick for a whole week because people just don't want to stay the hell home and miss some stuff.
yeah, no, mm-mm, I'm
It's
sorry.
just so inconsiderate. But like,
Out of
yeah, that's
anything, there's no way in hell, no way in hell I would go anywhere with a stomach bug.
no, because
I mean, a cold, I can understand and that not
yeah.
that it's acceptable, but who wants to crap in another person's toilet?
I mean, no. Yeah.
I want
Or
to be
near it.
uncomfortable in my
Or
own.
near it.
Yes, exactly. Because like when you were in a bathroom, even if you're in a public restroom, with
Yeah.
multiple stalls, and one person has a bug, the scent of poo when it's in the air, that carries the virus.
Yeah. Ew.
So I ain't down
Good
with
morning. Happy Friday, everybody.
that. Yes. Oh
I
my
hope
God.
you're enjoying your Wheaties.
Right? Trigger warning. I had to do hair one time for a friend of mine, but her family, like her husband's family, and they decided while I was doing hair that it was going to be a party. So hella people came over. Tell me why while doing her hair, I started getting a stomach ache. And it wasn't just like, oh, it's going to pass. I was at her house putting highlights in her hair. I had to go to the bathroom like, I'm not kidding, like 15 times. And it was so embarrassing to where I literally just had to drop everything and run because it was just like water.
You poor thing.
Being at someone else's house, you think she would have said, oh, you know what, just stop and go home. You're not feeling good. Oh no, she's over there just like eating and chatting it up while I'm over there dying. I'm like, it works both ways. Have consideration. If you see someone that's sick, just say, you know what, just go home. You know,
I
it's
can't stand people.
okay. A lot of inconsideration going on.
Yeah.
How's
Mm-mm.
everything else? You ready for the weekend?
I am. I'm happy we're gonna be home. I'm happy that maybe we're gonna get a little breaky poo from the rain. I don't know. Today it's gonna rain, I think. But it's cozy now that we're here at the house. And yeah, it's just gonna be a cozy, restful weekend. How about you? What do you got planned?
Presley has a little friend coming over today after school. So we're gonna pick her up and she's coming
Oh.
over and they're gonna hang out. And then tomorrow I am supposed to do hair, but I'm not too sure yet. Depends on if this person's husband is sick or not, because
Oh,
he may have a cold, or no, I don't know if it's contagious, so we'll see. And then Saturday, actually tomorrow's the big football game,
yes, it
so
is. Oh my
yeah,
God, one
exactly.
o'clock.
So Tony's so stoked, and so I'm supposed to go do hair. I'm gonna try and get there early if I go because Tony made plans to go see the game at this place over here. So,
Oh my
um,
God.
huh.
Sorry to interrupt, but I just have to say I got an email regarding the game. Like, we got great tickets, at Levi Stadium. And I was like, oh, neat. Oh my God, I'm gonna take my angel. Like, we don't have any plans on Saturday, like
That's nice.
afternoon. And I was like, how much are these damn tickets? Let me see. Because they're making it seem like it's such a good deal, nosebleeds, whatever. I haven't been to a game in years, like a football
Mhm.
game, like a live one. And oh, nosebleeds, 800? Bye. Goodbye. Is Beyonce gonna appear from
Right?
like the bleachers? I don't know.
Speaking of Beyonce, um, that's ridiculous for that. Like, that's why everything, like, whether it's the Warriors, whether it's the Niners, like, the 49ers are worse, I think. I don't know.
Hmm.
Honestly, I don't know. But if football's expensive,
Oh
and it's
yeah.
because, like, little kids, like, back in the day when Candlestick was around, like, it
Yes.
was affordable. You could take your kids, like, it was fun,
And
right?
that's the whole point of a football game. I'm sorry. It's for like it's family. It's like
Exactly.
what?
Yeah. Not no mo. Because tell me about it. Like even like normal games, it's maybe you're lucky if you could get a freaking ticket under 200. Maybe.
Maybe because like I try to take Angel to like a Warrior game every year too. The last time was 2 years ago. So that the end. And then let 49ers, I guess
Mhm.
she's not gonna see them ever in person because and it's like they don't win all the time. So why are you so expensive? I mean, I get it's the playoffs, but
But it's crazy how like it's the nosebleeds. It doesn't matter where you are.
nosebleeds.
And to be at the nosebleeds over at Levi Stadium is like you're in a
I
cloud,
hate
you're having like
exactly.
nosebleeds.
You're up there with
And you're
Moses
being
and all the
sunburned.
saints. Yeah. It's insane. And let me no, but like let me tell you. So yesterday I got a pre-sale code to get my Janet Jackson tickets. Hi, how are you? She's coming back. And I was like, gonna not I was like, I don't need to be lower level. I've already seen her. I love her. I will die for her. But then I was like, let me check. Tell me why I was able to get lower level before they were available to the public, 'cause that's today, for
Mhm.
like two less than 250 each.
Oh, damn.
So I'm gonna see Janet Miss Jackson if you're nasty at the Chase
Mhm.
Center, okay, which is conveniently right here, like
Mhm.
5 minute Uber right away.
Exactly.
But I'm gonna go see the Niners with the help of binoculars, maybe
Yeah.
sit upstairs, like all the way to the top, you know, like that high,
Yes.
waving to the airplanes for six, seven, $800.
Yeah.
No.
And risk a fall. Okay,
Oh
I'm
no.
sorry, but I'm telling you, when Tony and I went for what was it? It was a championship game that we went like 3 years. No, it was like right before COVID actually, and we
Mhm.
went, and weren't even that high. We had pretty good seats. Well, this old gentleman was with his
No,
and he tripped like he was going into his seats, but that's the thing, people don't move when you're
they
trying
don't.
to
They
get
sit
into
there
your freaking seat. That's why when I pick seats, I'm trying to get right on
at the
the
aisle.
I'm not trying to climb over Sally and Jack and Jerry, because I don't have time for it, right? I'd rather just hang around like eating food than having to
Right.
struggle for my seat, right? And I ain't climbing over shit. So this man accidentally like must have tripped over someone's foot and literally did a somersault onto the lower portion,
No.
the other
Did
row.
people give the other guy a hard time? Please tell me.
No, they did. No, I don't think they were more concerned about him. And he was like, oh, I'm okay. I'm okay. And he was like trying to laugh it off. But I was like, oh my God, it hurt my heart. I was like, ugh. And that's all I kept thinking about the whole game because it just made me so sad because it was like, come on now. But it's a common thing because the way they've created these, they want to smash so many people into the stadium that it doesn't leave any room for anybody,
I,
you
okay,
know?
it's official. Like I'm never going back. Like and I remember because we went to go see Beyonce at Levi a
Hmm.
couple years ago, and we had amazing seats. But I remember looking up, and I was
Hmm.
because I saw Beyonce at the same stadium a
Uh,
couple years before that, and I was like, what the hell? Bless you. Hi.
thank you.
Bless you. That was cute. And like I remember looking up and seeing how high up everyone was sitting, and I was like, how is that enjoyable? And
Yeah, no.
they always make the seats smaller as the seats get higher. You sit in comfort the lower you are.
Oh,
Same at
completely.
Chase
Uh-huh.
Stadium. Oh my God. Like
Mhm.
hi, like wherever everyone's like
Yeah,
hugging. It's like awful.
sardines. Exactly. And so that's what I was gonna say is, did you hear who the Super Bowl performer is for this year?
Isn't it? I did. Wait,
Such an odd combo.
wait. I feel like I rolled my eyes, but like who is it?
It's Post Malone and Reba McEntire.
That's right. Oh, Reba.
I know I adore both
Oh.
of them, but I'm like, it's so odd. It's such an to me it's just an odd pairing, but maybe they're gonna do something wild. I don't know. But
I'm
you
gonna
know.
be uncomfortable the whole time. He's sweet though, but like, I mean, that's a very odd pairing. I know Taylor Swift says she's busy. Ah,
Yeah, she
love
performed
her.
for the
I
Super
don't I don't think so. I don't think she has. She's been asked multiple times, and Beyonce's done it a couple times.
Bowl.
Riri last year pregnant.
Oh
Okay,
yeah, that's right. That's right. And
I'm
yeah,
still not
I-
over. And Shakira and J Lo. Like,
yes, I
enough
know.
said.
You're so funny. I can't. I know. And then yeah, that was a good but you know what? The one that was good too was all of the who was it? 50 Cent
Oh yeah. Oh, that wasn't that. That was last. Wait, one of
the
that
year
was
before
last
last.
year, the year before. Okay, yeah. And then,
That was a good one.
so good. Ooh, all the '90s babies were there.
Mhm. Yes, it was amazing. Oh my God, I love it. Anyways, man, we could go on for days. But
So, but that's what you guys are gonna do tomorrow is watch the
oh
game.
yeah, we're gonna watch
Yeah.
the and chill on Sunday, I'm assuming. I don't know.
Nice.
Wherever the wind blows me because I don't know. Monday I'm really getting to my New Year's resolution. So we'll see how this goes. You know, the last day of January or last week of January. So, right?
No, because I'm going to. It's we've got another week
Shit,
because
there's so many
because
weeks.
I know. And that's why, you know how I used to talk shit about January? Like after last year's like Speedy Gonzalez year, I'm enjoying how long January is. So take your time, boo. Take your time. So like next week is
Yeah.
still January. And then yeah, the 31st isn't until 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, that is insane. How's this
Or
possible? I mean, it's believable, yeah, because it's the 19th.
or like a week and a half, sorry. I was looking at February high. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy because even February is going to be a day later, a day longer. It's a long year this year, but
Yay.
I don't mind. You know, time needs to slow down a little bit, so I ain't complaining.
In the words of Boy George, time won't give me time.
Uh,
I had to.
shh. Gosh, I love me some Boy George. And you know what? He still tours.
We should go. I would love to see
So,
him.
he was here a couple years ago, and I told Tony, but we were out of town. And he has
Uh,
like little clubs, so we need to go when he comes
I'm
because
down.
yes, I would be a dream. I love him so much. He's the epitome
Oh,
of everything. Ugh.
you're
Anyways,
cute.
I guess we'll start Fridays with Neen.
Hi, Fridays with Neen. That's a short version.
So what I wanted to talk to you today, and I really just want to kind of have a conversation because I think it's something that we both have experienced and just it's like ingrained in us. It's like a trait that we both have. And what I'm going to be talking about is HSP. Have you heard of that?
HSP. Holy shit, Peter. No.
We may say that time and time again, but it's actually highly sensitive people.
Highly sensitive people. Okay.
So it's like it's not a disorder or anything
Okay.
like that. Like I said, it's a trait. It's something that I've dealt with since I was little, and I think that a lot of people confuse it with people that they think people are insecure because of it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a thing online, it's called the highly sensitive refuge. And basically what it means that a highly sensitive person experiences the world differently than others. Due to a biological difference that they're born with, highly sensitive people are more aware of subtleties and the process and how they process information. So you tend to process it a lot more deeply. This means that you tend to maybe be more creative, highly insightful, but it also means that you're prone to a lot of stress and you can get overwhelmed very easily. So, like I said in the beginning, HSP is a trait. It's not something like it has to be diagnosed. So, it's not like ADHD or anything like that. But a lot of people that are highly sensitive, a lot of times people think that, especially with young kids, a lot of people think that you can actually have autism because a lot of kids that have autism tend to be super sensitive. Like they cry a lot. They're very, it could come down to things like being very sensitive about certain fabrics, like the way that it makes your skin feel, loud noises, watching violent scenes on television, music, like listening to very sad music can make you
Mm.
very make you very emotional. So there's all these things that can be associated with it. So I'm actually going to talk about it a little bit, but I'm going to send you something, Steph, and it's a test. And it will
Okay.
tell you if you're actually
Mm.
a sensitive person. It's really quick. I'm just going to load up my telephone here because I turned it off because it was acting wonky. But have you ever been told you're sensitive?
Um, Not late. I mean, I know that I am, but like, it's never been like thrown in my face. Like, you're too, maybe like in like past relationships though. It's just been a while because
How about when you were younger?
yes.
Yeah. See, and I was always told that. I mean, I was known as being really shy when I was little,
Mm-hmm.
and that is also a way to, distinguish whether or not you're a sensitive person because people always say that you're super, super shy. So I'm going to send this over to you, and you just look through it, and it's super straightforward. Okay. I just sent it. All right. So while you do that, I'm going to just discuss some of this.
Okay.
Um, Let's see. So I was listening to a girl the other day on Instagram, and she was talking about being highly sensitive. And it made me think, like, man, some of the stuff that she was saying is exactly how I am. It's one of those things where you tend to maybe question how you are, like at a party, or maybe question how people are thinking of you, like, oh my gosh, are they judging me? Um, social situations could kind of trigger like your emotion, like give you anxiety, like going there. While you're there, you're fine, but coming home, maybe you'll question like a conversation you had with someone, or oh, this person was being weird, like they were being kind of standoffish with me. I wonder if it's something that I did. Did I say the wrong thing? Or maybe you go to like a work event with your husband or your wife, and maybe they are like, you're like, oh my gosh, you know do you think they liked me, or I didn't have anything in common with these people? And you always analyze how you interpret things, like how you basically were perceived. And it's really just something that is ingrained in you since you're younger. So
Hmm.
some of those questions, so I'm going to actually open it up and some of the things that they're asking. So on this test, basically, they'll have you answer all these questions at things that you've experienced.
Yeah.
So depending on the ones you click and how many you click, it'll tell you if you tend to, you know, side more with like a highly sensitive trait. They ask like, are you easily overwhelmed? Like, with
Yeah.
emotions, stuff like that. Aware of subtleties in the environment, other people's moods. Do you tend to be sensitive to pain? Do you find yourself needing to withdraw during busy days? Am I particularly sensitive to the effects of caffeine? Am I overwhelmed to things like bright lights, strong smells, coarse fabrics? Um, do you have a rich, complex inner life? Am I made uncomfortable by loud noises? Am I deeply moved by the arts of music? My nervous system seems frazzled sometimes. Are you over conscientious? Do you startle easily? Do you get rattled when you have a lot to do in a short amount of time? When people are uncomfortable in an environment, do you tend to like be a little bit more uncomfortable? Um, let's see, do you get annoyed when people try to get you to do too many things? Do you try to avoid making mistakes or forgetting things? Um, do you make a point to avoid violent movies and TV shows? Uh, do you become unpleasantly aroused when a lot is going on around you? Like by being hungry, do you get hangry? Uh, do changes in your life shake you up? Do you notice and enjoy delicate or fine scents or taste, sounds, works of art? Like, are you very in tune with those things? Do you find it unpleasant to have a lot going on all at once? So like there's a whole bunch of other things, but those are just like little things that I never really even thought that kind of would distinguish whether or not I'm highly sensitive. And one
Yeah.
of the reasons why I wanted to bring this up is because Presley deals with that a lot. So her being little, one of the biggest things that she dealt with was being super, super sensitive. And one of the things that she used to deal with was if I were to play really sad music or even like lullaby music, it would make her cry. It would make her
Linda.
so sad. And even to this day, there's actually even a song that I played at my dad's funeral. And to this day, if she hears it, she gets super emotional.
Oh my God, but of course, that and
And before then, though, that song was my
okay.
dad's favorite. So I knew that when my dad would play it, it would make her sad, not knowing that she didn't know that it was his favorite, right? So before I had told her, I said, listen, I go, you know that song that dad liked? And she was like, yeah. And I go, I really want to play that for the funeral. I said, but are you going to be okay? And so she goes, not really, but if that's what you want to play, So I went through some other songs. Every song, obviously, for a funeral is going to be sad, right?
Yes.
Every song that I put on, she was like crying, and it's almost to where she can't handle the emotion that it evokes, right?
Linda. Oh my God.
And it's hard because, I've had some people say, oh gosh, why is she like that?
Okay, you know what?
I knew you were gonna.
I hope you just spew like all kinds of shit at those people.
And I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, it's just she's just very sensitive, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not like, I remember like, do you ever listen to a song and feel very overwhelmed, like the
Hmm.
emotion that it evokes? And it could not even be a sad song, but just like hell, even like Kenny G, that
Oh
sounds
yeah.
me every time, you
Oh
know?
yeah. Music really like for me.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's why I'm surprised. I got a 9 on my test.
See, I got a 10.
Yeah.
You have to
Um,
get a 14, I think,
mhm.
in order to be considered highly sensitive. But it's crazy because when I read some of this stuff, it's actually something that I feel like I have more sensitivity than I actually thought I would be one of those people. I
Hmm.
actually think that when I was younger, I was a lot more sensitive than I am now. I've
Okay.
not grown out of it, but I've learned how to cope with certain things. Highly sensitive people tend to process information very deeply. So your emotions tend to be very strong. Um,
Yeah, that makes sense.
and I think that for myself, I know even growing up, it's looked to as like a weakness or something that's negative, and it shouldn't be that way. It's actually something that's really beautiful. But for people that are sensitive, you just tend to tune into your sensitive side, and there's a lot of people that can't do that or don't know how.
Or they're ashamed, like these fucking people who are making comments about pretzel.
Yeah,
How about
exactly.
you cry? How about you put on a
And that's
song
the
and
thing is like there's a lot of people. So when I looked it up, they were saying, and I actually was listening to a podcast also in regards to this. Um, they were saying that there's only 15 to 20% in the world that are considered highly sensitive. So it's a very low, amount of people that go through this. And I think it's something that could be very isolating at times.
yeah.
Um, because it's something that you kind of feel like nobody understands you. For myself, growing up as an only child, I think that kind of made me the way I was because I didn't really have anybody to like grow thick skin with, you know.
Right.
So
That
certain
makes sense.
yeah, I mean, I think certain things tend to make you feel more empowered when you're around other people. Or, for example, like my mom, she grew up with a lot of siblings. Therefore, she kind of had to like build her own voice in order to be heard. And so, your brother making fun of you about something or your sister, pulling your hair or God knows what, you're not going to be as upset as you would if you're not surrounded by that type of thing. Because I know in school, I used to get really sensitive over stuff. If someone told me something, it would be to where I would sit there and I would have like a knot in my throat, you know?
Hmm.
Or like yesterday, it was so funny because Presley had painted her nails and it was like a really weird color. And
What color?
well, it was pink, but she had painted them like she wanted to make them look like they were stitched up.
Ooh,
She
fun.
put like these dashes, and I was like, "What is that?" So I was like, "Oh, that's kind of weird, right?" And she was like,
Uh-oh.
"Yeah." So by me just saying that, she got all offended. So she went to school, but one of the girls in her class had said to her, "Ew, your nails look dirty," or something like that. And so she was telling me that when she got home, and literally her face was all red and she was about to cry.
Oh
So,
shit.
and it's something that I could actually relate to because, when you are highly sensitive, you don't know how to handle or process um, like criticism, even if it's not meant to be mean, but you become awkward and you don't know how to like process it. So you tend to either cry or shy away. I know for me, a lot of times when I was dealing with, just being sensitive, especially in school, or if someone
Yeah.
made fun of me, or even like if I were to go to a class, and I think that's something that parents have to understand and be aware of. Like a lot of times, kids, especially when you're not really around other peers and you're young, kids could be mean, obviously. And a lot of times, if there's one kid that's mean to you, it's going to affect you in a lot
Yeah.
of ways. And it's going to
And stay
deter
with
you.
you.
Yeah, and it's going to deter you from wanting to be or go back. And that's something that happened to me before when I was younger, especially within my family. Like for me, it was hard because my mom had this big, Mexican family, and
Yeah.
very boisterous, very like, super loud, would always like comment on things about me, like my appearance, you know, and yeah, like they would say, like my aunts, they would say, "Oh, Mia, you have a pimple," or like random stuff, which wouldn't be like my mom's like, "Oh, I don't know why you get so like offended when they talk to you like that," and it's just like, yeah,
Because you're
because
normal.
I handle that. you know, and it's just like not, and I feel like our aunts or our siblings or our cousins, like a lot of times you should be able to be normal around them, right?
Yeah,
For me, I always had I was very not insecure, but very just
just shy, maybe like
yeah,
uncomfortable.
yes, exactly. Like super, super shy. And I always felt like there was something wrong with me because of that. And reading this and learning more about it actually made me feel a lot more normal because it made me think, oh my gosh, okay, all these things that I'm feeling is not uncommon. You know, there's
Hmm.
actually other people that deal with it and a lot more so than I, you know, especially at least as I gotten older. I kind of fake it till I make it. Like, especially when I go to a party, like how do you feel when you go to a party and you're around other people that you don't know? Are you very like comfortable around people that you don't know, or do you kind of shy away from
I'm like my
situations?
mom. I just talk to whoever. Like I'm like, hey, like I don't know. I can't remember if I was like I don't I was shy in elementary school
Mhm,
and when I first started high school because you don't, it's a new environment and stuff and
mhm,
probably like um yeah, like as I've gotten older now, why can't I remember? My God. I was just saying my mom's memory is going and look at me. But yeah, I'm just like my mom. I actually thrive in like these types of environments. I'm like, hey, how's it going? Like, I don't know why. I
yeah,
don't know if
you
it's because
are.
I'm a Zumba instructor and I talk to everybody. Maybe that's what it has to do with. But I credit a lot of me because I used to hate public speaking, and that goes hand in hand with I think if you're an outgoing person, public
Mhm.
speaking comes naturally to you. Like I remember dreading it in school, like having to do a speech or whatever in front of people looking at you. I'd be terrified. But when I went to school later on as an adult and I had to
Mhm.
do that, and this is when I was in my um late 20s when I went to get my AA.
Mhm.
That helped me a lot. Had I not done that, I would not be a Zumba instructor or get up in front of people. So,
How did you overcome that? Because that's not easy. I remember at SSA,
oh,
had to do that because you know have to take a speech class.
yeah,
God, it was, and because that's the thing is like public speaking isn't easy. You
it's
know,
not.
I was kind of bitter at the fact that my speech teacher didn't really show us how to overcome that. It was just like the more you do it, the more you get comfortable with it. And I guess, yeah, but I mean, at the same time, it's still super nerve-wracking.
It definitely for me, because I had to do it all the time for my program, it helped. Like it really did. The more I did it, the more it was like, okay, like nothing's gonna happen to me. I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I credit that to me being more and my mom to be like able to be in these environments and be okay.
Mhm.
Sometimes and I actually get like I don't know if it's uncomfortable. I get sad or like I want to take care of the person who's really quiet and clearly uncomfortable. So I try to like spend
Yeah.
time with that person.
Mhm.
Because
No,
it's it's nerve-wracking. How about
yes.
going to like a big dinner party, like for your spouse's work, and you don't know anyone? Look at Angel, okay? That's going to be a science, like all night long type of party. And the wives are like, you know,
No, for real. And that's the thing is it's kind of like Joey in Friends where everybody's talking about things like and he's over there studying the encyclopedia to like, you know, try and be as
yes,
like up there with everyone. You know, and it's not really even an intelligence thing. It's more so like if you're not familiar with the environment or the subject matter, you just feel out of the loop, like, oh my gosh, I can't, you know, I don't have anything to say, you know? And a lot of times, like for myself, because I know for me, I tend to, like I said, fake it until I make it. Like,
right.
you wouldn't know that I'm shy. Like when I tell people, oh, I'm shy, they're like, you? No, you're not. But I think too, as I've gotten older, and honestly, even COVID did not help, that it's made me more of an introvert to where even going to the store, like sometimes I go to the store and I'll park in the parking lot and I'm like, I really don't want to go in. And I'll
Oh,
literally leave because I just don't want to deal with people.
well, maybe because everybody at Trader Joe's likes to have full-on conversations about life as you're just trying to
Yes.
check out. So I don't blame you. I don't think you're alone on that.
And it's just like I just don't sometimes you don't want to engage. And and I do think a lot of it is because I'm an only child. And I think though that it's a lot more common than we realize, or there's a lot more people that are highly sensitive that maybe just don't realize it, And some characteristics though, like I had mentioned, are you're an empath, so
Hmm.
people's reactions or emotions affect you highly. And that's kind of like what you were saying, Steph, like when you go somewhere and you see someone that's sad or lonely or, just you could tell is feeling very awkward. I always tend to want to like cheer them up, or I'll be like, hey, what's your name? And try to make them feel like they're a part of the group. I hate when
Completely.
you do that, especially when you're an adult. Like, come on. If you clearly see someone in a group, especially, like I'm thinking like for myself, like in a mom group or like a school function where maybe at kids' parties and there's tons of parents that are around and you see that one parent that's on the side because they wanted to bring their kid and be that good mom, but all the other parents know each other, and then there's that one parent that's just standing there. It's hard when you're older to like create these really nice bonds or relationships with people. It's you've already created those,
Right.
so to go into a setting where you don't know anyone, it could be very intimidating,
Hmm.
and that's why a lot of times I never like to go or take Presley to parties because I'm like, "Ugh, I'm not going to know anyone, you know
Yeah.
or even when your friends have parties, and even though it's your friend, you know, like if you're going and you know that none of your other friends are going to go, it can be intimidating because your friend can only be hanging out with one person at a time, you know? And if
Hmm.
you're the kind of person to be able to strike up conversation easily, it could be very intimidating. Um,
Hmm.
Another characteristic is you could be very emotional. You cry and you feel easily. You could be a deep thinker. I feel like I am a deep thinker. I sometimes think way too much. My mind
Hmm.
wanders big time. Who's that behind the curtain? Is it
You
the
know who?
great and powerful Oz has spoken? Oh, that's cute. Are you a seeker? You're always seeking to know more or why.
Like the tea.
Mhm.
Does that apply to gossip? She's says because I'm a seeker.
Okay, shoot, don't get me started. Music, like I said, it affects you deeply. It can evoke tears at the sound of
Yes.
the music alone. You don't even have to hear the notes. But tears of sadness and immense feeling, it doesn't always mean that it's like I don't want to say a bad thing. I think sometimes, like for me, a lot of times, I don't know if when you argue, I don't argue often with Tony, but when I do, or even not even argue. Okay, here's an example. Yesterday, and I'm not very proud, it's not one of my best moments, but
Uh-oh.
yesterday I was on the phone helping my mom with an IRS issue.
Uh-oh.
And I think I've talked to you about this. Like when it comes to customer service, my first job was at Nordstrom. And they like ingrain customer service on you like nobody's business. It's like when they train you, that's all they talk about is customer service. And so as I was getting older, sorry, I got distracted because Roni's like making
Sorry.
appearances. He's so cute. He's like, come on. So, so customer service was always like a big thing for me, like wherever I go. And even like how I'm treated when I go to a store, it's not like you need to bend down and be like, oh, she's here, not like that, but just kindness. Like kindness goes a long way. So I'm over there and I'm calling the IRS yesterday, and nobody likes to call the IRS, right? If anything, everybody likes to avoid them at all costs. So I get on the phone, and obviously I'm pretending I'm my mom because, she's like, can you talk to him for me? I'm like, okay. So the guy answers. You can tell he's kind of rude in the beginning, and it already like set a tone with me. So I'm talking to him, I'm explaining my issue, and he's like, can you give me 5 to 7 minutes so I could look into this? I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I'm waiting. I'm like, la, la, la. He comes back, he explains my issue. Well, he doesn't explain. He just says, you need to look on line 15 on your return. and figure it out. I'm like, excuse me, did you just say figure it out? And so then he's like, what else do I have to help you with?
What?
Or is that all? And I said, sir, I haven't even had a chance to look at line 15. Can you please hold and let me see because you haven't answered my question? I said, I talked to my tax guy and they told me to call you because he can't answer it. I said, I have a bill that's due on, this date in February and I need to get it done. I said, so can you please hold to see if I have any more questions? And he's like, well, did you find it or not? Because I don't have time for this. He said, listen to me. So it set me off. So I was like, listen, my husband passed away, because of course I'm my mom. My husband passed away in 2021. I said, and according to my tax guy, blah, 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 blah. I'm going back and forth with a guy. And he's like, well, I'm sorry about that, but what else can I help you with? You need to contact your tax guy. There's nothing else I can help you with if you're not prepared. I go, you know what? Oh my
Oh,
God, Steph. And I was literally crying. My voice was shaking because I was so upset. And I was like, listen, I said, nobody likes to call the IRS. I go, we don't like to call you. I said, but I'm calling you because this is what I'm supposed to do. And when I call someone on the other end, I should be getting someone that's helpful, not someone that's giving me attitude, is impatient, inconsiderate, and rude. I said, you're
exactly.
being rude. I said, the least you can do is give me some time so I can ask you the proper questions. And he's like, you know what? Are you finished? I said, you know what? I ain't got time for this. And I was like, F you. I literally,
Good. Did you say
my
the
mom,
word or
no, I
F?
did. I did. I didn't want to, I didn't want to shock our listeners, but yes. And my mom was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God, Justine, I can't believe you did that." I was like, "Mom, I'm sorry." I was like, "It's just, honestly, I can't handle that." And, of course, I started to cry, but it wasn't because I was like sad, but it was just I tend to get that way. And it's not just like something like this, but it's even like if I get in an argument, sometimes because I've been told that even in the past in my past relationships,
Yeah.
I'm always crying. Are you doing that to make me feel bad? No. If I didn't cry, like I wish I didn't have to cry. It's just something that comes out because I get so frustrated that I don't know how else to handle it, right? So it comes out like that.
Yeah.
And it's just
I'm the same way.
yeah, right? It could be an
Yeah.
argument with you and I would cry.
Yeah. But it's like because you're so over like when like if I'm confronted or if I'm pissed, like it manifests into tears.
Yes.
And it's not because I'm sad, it's because I'm so angry that that's how it comes out. I totally, yeah,
Yes.
you're not alone on that one.
Right? And I think
Mm-mm.
it's pretty common. And I think that people that don't understand what it's like to feel deeply tend to not understand that, when you're trying to hold back something, your body makes up for those emotions and it shows. It comes out. And that's what happens, especially with me, is that you tend to
Hmm.
feel all the feels and then your body's like, oh, and you can't help it and you start to cry, and
Right.
it's not a weakness. It's just something that you can't help. That's ingrained. It's ingrained in you. That's who you are. Another thing is you have a very low patience level and you get bothered very easily that most people wouldn't even acknowledge.
Sorry. That's me. I'm getting better though. Like
Aw.
I'm
It's
learning.
so funny though, because I always know when Steph is impatient because she always has like deep breaths, like
Uh-huh.
and then you
Yep.
like look around like, ugh, or like, oh, come on. And it's so funny. Like I always can feel when it's coming too. Like it's hilarious. Can Kara sense it? Does she?
Yeah. She does. I don't even need to breathe. We're in Trader Joe's and we're in front of Slow Sally is the cashier who likes to chat.
Mhm.
And God bless her, but no. So I don't even have to, I'll have to go as, and like, did you hear anything? No. But she'd be like, honey, why don't you go wait in the car? I'll take care of all this. And she doesn't like make me feel like a bitch or anything, or we're at Target and the even slower cashiers there. She's like, why don't we, can you go grab us a Starbucks if you don't mind? And I'll take care of all this. And she'll bag everything up and make the small pleasantries. Whereas I
Aw.
will do the same in talkative Uber rides. She, like, so I feel like I have to like work double because she'll be hella quiet and like looking up. I'm like, oh, hell no. So I'm on my own.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
so Kiara doesn't talk.
No,
Oh, how funny. That's
I
hilarious.
know.
So, did you get that from either of your parents? Like,
My mother and my father, they're both the
okay.
same.
Your dad, because see, my dad was really impatient when it came to things. Like, I remember he would be the same way, like you, like in Walgreens. I remember Walgreens in Westlake never has cashiers, and they always have hella long lines that go down the aisles. And I remember my dad always getting impatient, and it used to drive me nuts to where I would be like, "Come on, Dad." I was like, why are you getting so impatient? Like, what are we gonna do? Like, you have no control over that. And he was like, ugh, they can't bring out more cashiers. And I'm like, oh my God, how embarrassing.
I'm the same.
But it's just, some people are like that, right? I don't
Exactly.
know it. Another thing is you're very jumpy, so your nervous system tends to be a bit more on edge. I am very,
Yes.
I'm hella jumpy. Like you come around a corner and I'm not expecting you, I'm gonna scream.
Yes, me too.
I
Me too.
used to do that all the time at my old job, and it was so embarrassing. But I'm like, dude, don't like sneak up on me like that, right?
I can't stand people who pull pranks like that. It's like F you.
Right? I'm like, my nervous system does not appreciate it. Change is hard. So for a lot of people, change in any lifestyle, like your environment, like moving, even something as, like a promotion can really throw you off. So
Mhm.
people that are highly sensitive, they may have a difficult time with things like that. Even something like that you would think that would be pleasant, like going on vacation, can really rattle
Mhm.
someone big time. It may be exciting, but you yearn to be back at home. Like you really find comfort in just being in what you're used to, your comfort zone, right? Um, Maybe, for me, like I love going on vacation, but it has to be somewhere I really love. Like if we go to Hawaii, I could be there forever, like it won't bother me. But if I'm going somewhere and say um, okay, for example, if you go somewhere, would you rather stay at someone's house or would you rather stay in a hotel?
Hotel.
Yeah, and
Always
see,
a hotel.
yes, and I'm the same way. I am the same way. I can't handle, I don't mind staying at someone's house, but I feel more comfortable being, even though it's not my house, but at least I could be myself, you know?
Exactly. It's exhausting.
It is, because you're not used to how people live. There's that sense of comfort. There's some people that could get very comfortable in your house, no problem. I, on the other hand, I don't. I want to go to bed in a place where I could just relax, not have to worry about whatever. It's different being in someone else's home.
Mhm.
That's just how I feel. Many times you're very misunderstood. Like I said, I've been considered shy. I've even been considered a snob when I was younger. People thought I was really
Baby.
snobbish
What?
because of how quiet I was. And, some people can point out that, because you're anxious, that they'll constantly ask you, is something wrong? Are you okay? Is something wrong? And it's just like, no, a lot of times people that are highly sensitive tend to be an introvert.
Yes.
You could be what is it? An extroverted introvert. And I
Yes,
think,
you can.
right,
Mm-hmm.
on the outside, it looks like, oh, I'm down for anything. But inside, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
And when you read up on it, it's actually really interesting to hear the different characteristics and all the things that you're like, oh my gosh, I could totally relate to that, right? Um, and another thing is when people get hangry easily.
Angel. That's
Really,
the one time she'll be cranky.
really?
It's the
See,
cutest thing.
oh man, see, and I mean, I wouldn't get annoyed with Kara, but there's certain people that get angry and irritated so quickly when they're hungry. And to me, I can't handle that. Like if I'm going to go out with someone and they're irritated or angry because they're hungry, to me, I feel like, okay, well, if you know you get like that, bring a snack. Or if you know you get like that, eat before you leave. Like if we're on a road trip or we're going, we're maybe vacationing together and you skipped breakfast because you decided to sleep in, well, that ain't my fault. If you know you need food to process information or function, then you should have woken up earlier and eaten. Like
Hmm.
I don't like hanging out when people are irritated over food. Like to me, it's crazy to me. But I know people get like that, and it's funny because Tony says he doesn't get like that, but there's certain times where he's like, you could tell oh, I haven't eaten anything. I have to take my medication. I'm like, well, then you should have like said something, right? Because I could go hours without eating. And that's
Yeah.
just, I could
Hmm.
wake up and not have breakfast or lunch and then finally eat around 2 o'clock.
Same.
Yeah, and it won't bother me. I'm like, whatever, you
Yeah,
know?
Angel's like, how do you do that? I'm like, easy. Like, it's not, but I have to have coffee. So
Yeah.
I'll get like hangry if I don't have my caffeine by 8. It has to be 8, or else I get a headache and I'm good, very dramatic. That's why we finally put a coffee bar in our room again, because I was like, this is not the biz. Because sometimes Angel's like, because our wedding vows, she was supposed to bring me coffee every morning. Sometimes she's late,
So,
and I'm all, I have a headache.
so you do get a headache when you don't like, because I've heard that like by a specific time you have to have
Mhm.
that caffeine hit.
Oh yeah, no later than 8. 8 is pushing it.
Wow,
Like it's intense. So I was like, honey, wouldn't it be great if we just had a coffee bar so I can sometimes make you coffee?
that is hilarious. So
I
wait,
know.
so what do you have in your coffee?
What do I have? Sugar-free vanilla coffee mate. And one, but I add a sweet and low. Shit
You're
is
so
and my collagen. Oh my God. I can't do
Do you
anything.
have a little fridge in there too?
Yes.
Oh, how funny.
Specifically for miniature mason jars of coffee
Oh,
creamer.
how cute is that? Oh my gosh, wow. See, I like having coffee, but I don't need it. I don't get like a headache or anything like that. But I know my mom gets like that. She'll get a migraine
Hmm.
big time. And I know even Jesse's like that. She'll get a migraine when she don't have her coffee. And I'm like, dang, I always find that fascinating because I'm like, wow, just shows how strong caffeine is,
It
right?
really is. It's a drug that I don't
Mhm.
intend on ever quitting. I don't care. I don't care. The doctor could be like, it's going to kill you. Well,
For real,
what?
because what would happen? Because they say as you get older, caffeine really can negatively affect people. Like I know a few people where it's like cause them like heart palpitations and crap. Like, what would you do? Would you go to like decaf? Do you think
That's,
that would work?
I would have to do one regular and one decaf. Slowly wean it down. Yeah. Decaf is
You're
not coffee.
you're like, I'm coffee's bitch till I die.
Exactly.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. It says that some people that are highly sensitive tend to shy away from conflict, and in fact, they become conflict avoidant. So they tend to be a people pleaser, even though like they don't agree with the situation. They tend to just deal with it, just to not deal with the conflict that may come with it. I think for me, this one is something that I've been trying to grow out of and like do better with because a lot of times I'll just give in because I don't want to deal,
Mm-mm.
and I think as I've gotten older, especially within the past 3 or 4 years, I've tried to just like, if I have a problem with someone, I'm going to tell them. It doesn't have to be in a mean way, it could be
No.
a nice, sweet way. And if you can't handle it, then that ain't my problem. That's yours. And I think it's something I was telling Tony this the other day. I was like, it's really sad when, like, you should be able to teach your kids to be forgiving and to be able to constructively deal with conflict,
Hmm.
as adults, you know? And I've known a few people who dealt with conflict, um, and their kids have learned not to forgive or become just very resentful, you know? And
Hmm.
it's not a good look to me when you don't have to like someone, you don't have to, go have coffee and hang and chill and, you know, swap stories with someone, but you can just agree to just disagree or just not like someone and be okay with it. You know,
Yeah.
I always feel like it's good to settle things and not let things like time pass, you know?
Yeah.
Not like what you, how you for a while were like, oh, I don't want to deal with karma. So I want to like, you know,
Yes.
mend fences, you know?
Yes.
And I think it's important. I think it's good for your overall, just your heart and your well-being. I think that a lot of times when we come across like highly sensitive people, we tend to believe that the person is highly insecure. And I had mentioned that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But there are two different types of things that you can be extremely sensitive, but you can also be very confident. Just because you're sensitive doesn't mean that you lack confidence. Um, you know, it doesn't mean that you always have to be showing your cards. I think a lot of times that people think that because you're sensitive or that you lack, you know, like for me, I was shy. I feel like you could still be shy, but you could still be confident, but you could still be shy, if that makes sense. Um, for example, like with me, if you go to a party, for me, I'm gonna go in there. I'm not gonna be like, I'm gonna kind of like look,
Survey the room.
yeah, exactly, and be like, okay. And I usually tend to gravitate towards someone like, oh, I could vibe with them, you know? And then I tend to feel a little bit more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's normal, but a highly sensitive person tends to be a little bit more maybe on their own. Like I was saying earlier, they tend to just kind of they're okay being on their phone in the corner, which to me, I'm just like, ugh. In a way, I'm like, why would you do that? Like, don't do that. Because that kind of tells people, don't talk to me,
Right.
you know? Whereas I'm like, oh, okay. But then have you ever met someone where they're very like, you could tell they're feeling awkward and you try to talk to them and they're just like not interested? Like,
Yes.
and you're like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
and it makes it awkward and you're like, oh God, okay, I don't know what to do.
Like, oh, I've experienced that. Yeah, like you're meeting like a new friend group, for example. I'm speaking
Mhm,
from experience.
mhm,
And like you wanna be nice, like this person, these friends mean something to like your partner or whoever, right? And you're being like authentic and yourself, polite, whatever, and you're just not getting anything back
mhm.
every time. So then for me, I get to the point where why am I trying so hard? I don't even like you. The end. Bye-bye. And then I just don't even care.
You're like, I don't even like you.
It's like three strikes for me. It's the three strike rule. I always give three chances. And I'm like,
No.
bye.
But I think
Like it
it says
makes
a lot about you that you try, you know, because I'm the
yeah.
same way. Because that happened to me like last year sometime. And I knew this person, you know, but it felt like they were having an off day. So I was trying to talk to them. And every time I talked to them, it's just like one word answers.
No.
And I'm like, what the hell?
Immediate no.
You.
Like goodbye.
And I'm like, you know, and that's the thing too. And I think that's something, and this has nothing to do with being sensitive. It's just in general. Like, if I have a party, or if you have a party, or,
Hmm.
you know, I don't know, a function at your wife's job,
Work.
or
Yeah.
whatever. If you're having a bad day, or say you had an argument with your spouse, or maybe you're not on your A game, sometimes it's best to just stay home versus going out if you're not, because there's some people. I'm the kind of person like if Tony and I were to get in an argument, no one would know except Tony because I'd be throwing like, you know, side eyes across the room. But no one would know that I'm upset with him.
Right.
I can't be that kind of person like to make other people feel uncomfortable because I am.
Hmm.
But there's a lot of people, and that's a trait. I don't think that I could really hang with people like that. That if you're having a bad day, everybody else has to feel it. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I know a few people like that, and it's very hard sometimes to be around because just because you're having a bad day, it's kind of like that whole idea behind when you go to work, like don't bring your personal life to work.
Hmm.
right? Like leave that at the door. I know there's some, and if you can't leave it at the door, then don't come through the door.
Perfect. Yes, exactly.
But I think that a lot of people wear their emotions on their sleeve. And it's hard for people to understand that a lot of people don't want to deal with other people's drama. Or I don't want to have to deal with a cranky person when I'm trying to have a party and a good time. So if you're going to bring that negativity, then I just don't want you there. Like with
Yeah, I agree. It's like, why bother? And they don't think
yeah,
they're doing anything wrong because they're still
yeah.
showing up.
Well, of
Like when
course.
I was going through my breakup in 2016, I started a new job. You know how depressed I was.
Mhm.
I still showed up to
You
work every
remember,
day.
you still have that picture? Do you
Yeah.
still have the badge?
Yeah.
Remember I told you, I said, shit, remember, you always look at that picture and remember.
How heartbroken. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
but I never cried at my desk. I always showed up on time and everything. Like I did not bring that to work.
Oh,
I would
totally.
just, cry on my lunch break, but I'd come wipe those tears away and be normal, you know?
Mhm.
The same goes for parties. The same goes for dinner with a friend. If you're in a
Mhm.
shitty mood, either fix it or deal with it later or don't go. Like I can't stand people with their like bringing that all that crap, like
Oh, and it's not fair. Like, why even go then? I would respect you a lot more if you said if you're like, because that's the thing. There's a lot of people that hate when people cancel.
yeah, why
Being
is that?
honest, and you're saying, you know what? I just really can't go because I'm not having a good day.
Yeah.
Hell, I would appreciate that a lot more than you moseying on over to dinner with me where you're going to be a cranky ass bitch. Like, I don't want to deal with that. And at least and that's the thing. Like, I kind of wonder. I mean, I know this is going in a different direction, but I know this, that I guess that's a pet peeve of mine is that people tend to always complain and say, oh, you know, if you're going to cancel, just let me know. Truth over anything else. Like, I just want you to be honest, like all this stuff. But then when you cancel on people or you say you can't and you're honest, people get all crazy and they're like, get all mad and be like, oh, they flake, oh, they do this, or they do that. I can't handle people like that. And I think that's why a lot of people tend to maybe lie or people just don't want to tell the truth. Because it's so funny. There's a couple people where I've maybe had plans with them and they've canceled, and then you find out that they were somewhere else through someone
Mhm.
else, and you're like, why didn't they just tell me the truth? Like, I'm not going to get offended. Out of all people, I'm the one person that's not going to get offended because hell, I got enough on my plate that the chances are I might have to cancel. Like, if I made
Mhm.
plans with you 2 months ago, for today, things may change.
Right.
And I'm not going to take it personal.
Mhm.
But people really get bent out of shape.
Makes you wonder, like, but why? There's always a deeper reason. They don't want to be judged. They don't want to, maybe
Yeah.
they've always been a flake and they don't want that reputation attached to who they are. Like, oh, so and so. Oh yeah, she's such a flake. So like then, they feel the need to be colorful.
No, for
Like
real.
yeah, or like seem wishy-washy. Like I would hate to feel like people think that I'm wishy-washy, I don't, because I don't like that in a person. I can't
Hmm.
stand that. It's like it's like, just tell me that you're
Hmm.
busy or like
Yeah.
you don't feel it. How about I'm tired?
Yeah. Exactly. This day and age, like, and I think too, like, social media, even Instagram, TikTok, whatever, has kind of normalized the idea of like, if you cancel on me, it's actually not that bad because I
Right.
might, I might need it. You know,
That
I
bra flies
think,
off, I'm on the
yeah.
couch.
And
Yeah.
you're like, yay, you know what I mean? Like, and honestly, I only cancel if I really have to, you know?
Hmm.
And a lot of times, like, give people grace, especially when they have kids. Like, things happen,
Hmm.
especially if you don't have a sitter, whatever it may be. Kids get sick all the time at the most inconvenient times.
Hmm.
And it's like, don't get your panties in a wedgie.
Hmm.
I can't handle that. But anyways, back to square one. The reason why though, like I had said earlier, the reason why I wanted to bring up that topic is because I feel like it's something that we all could relate to in some way, shape, or form. And I think it's extremely important, especially nowadays, to teach our children and to learn about highly sensitive people. And it doesn't even have to be just people, just highly sensitive, like actions or like traits. Kids in class and in school tend to be made fun of or even bullied or, questioned because of the fact that they're so sensitive. And in all honesty,
Right.
like, you know, like I said, when I get in an argument with someone, sometimes I can cry. It's okay. It doesn't mean that you're weak,
No.
and I think that's another thing that we should show our kids that crying doesn't mean that you're weak. It's not a weakness.
If anything, it's if you show how strong you are because you're brave enough to cry. People
Yeah.
off because they think it's such a weak trait, and it's actually not. You're bravely showing your emotions. So,
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, growing up, I never cried. I was always that kid that had like the lump in her throat to try and
oh,
avoid crying because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be that kid that cries, right?
right.
But, honestly, hell, if you're someone that cries and is able to release those emotions, you're probably pretty happy.
Hmm.
Releasing all that negative energy that's built up inside. I mean, it's not a
Hmm.
bad thing. And it doesn't, and even teaching that to boys, like, I feel like, I don't think it's so much now, but I know it still exists where a lot of parents feel, or like guys tell their boys, like, don't cry, that's a weakness.
Yeah.
But I even know some people, even girls, that feel like crying is a weakness. And I just don't understand that. I don't understand how, like, especially if you've lost someone or you're going through a breakup or whatever, it's okay to show vulnerability by through crying. Like, crying helps so much. Like, even just, do you ever just cry in the shower just because?
If I'm listening to a song, or yeah, I've cried in the shower. Like if you're just stressed or you don't feel good too, it just feels really therapeutic. Something about the water with the water. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, I tend to cry sometimes, like in the car if I'm by myself and I'm listening to something or I'm like thinking about something. Like a lot of times when I'm by myself, I'll just kind of be like, let it out. And it's amazing how when you release those emotions, how like light you feel after.
Hmm.
Like sometimes you have to, and it's okay. Um, you know, I think that in this world, I don't know, we're dealt with so many cards. And I think that this is just one more thing that kind of, like I said, it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing, but it's just something that, it's a trait that some of us have. And it doesn't mean that it's a weakness. It's just something that it makes up who we are. And a lot of people that are sensitive tend to be very artistic, tend to
Hmm.
be very creative, tend to think really deeply. And that's something that I've always done. I don't know if you do this stuff, but I know my friend Veronica and I used to talk about this a lot, how I don't know if when you were younger, and I know it even happens now, but like if I'm driving or if I'm by myself and I'm thinking, do you ever get those feelings of like, oh my God, how is this possible? Like, how is life possible? Like
Yes.
I'm a actual being. Like I'm alive right now and I'm breathing. You ever
It's a yeah, definitely.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's such a
It's such
weird
an
feeling.
amazing like, oh yeah, no. And then at night, oh my God, like I'm gonna die one day. Like, no.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think about that a lot. And it's something that I've always thought of when I was little. And it was something that Veronica explained it to me back in the day that when you get feelings like that, it's actually kind of like a spiritual awakening that you're having.
Hmm.
And when you read up on it, it's actually pretty interesting and it kind of all makes sense. And there's not many people that could feel that. So when I like, okay, I asked you and you said you've experienced that. And
Hmm.
it'd be interesting. And I'm sure Kara felt, has sensed that too. I could see her being a very deep thinker,
Hmm.
um, especially because of her profession, right? But Tony, for example, I've asked him, and Tony's like, huh, I've never thought of that before. And I'm like, oh my God, you have never thought of that to where, you know, you've never thought of like how this is all possible and how like, how are we breathing and like one day we're gonna die and like,
Mm.
I go, man, and in a way I kind of felt bad for him because I'm like, wow, like, to, and not to say that there's anything wrong with him, but it's just being a sensitive person or being able to feel certain things. I think it's actually a blessing in a way because
Mm-hmm.
you appreciate a lot of things that you normally wouldn't. I feel like
Definitely.
people like that also can look at art and we can interpret art in a certain way, you
Mm-hmm.
know, versus someone that isn't as in tune can look at something like art and being like, oh, well, it's just a bunch of colors on a canvas. Like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand how you see that, you know?
Yeah.
And in a way, it's kind of sad because they aren't able to open that door to those
Right.
emotions or those feelings, and see beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I just wanted to go over being highly sensitive and, just kind of what it looks like, I think, in the 90s. And two, another reason why I wanted to bring it up too is because I feel like nowadays our culture is very sensitive as a whole. Like we're seeing it a lot more with how we interpret certain things, how we interpret what people say, how we interpret jokes. Like we were just talking last week or the week before, I believe it was, about Joe Coy at, was it the Emmys? Was it the Emmys? Or
Golden Globes.
yeah, the Golden Globes, and how, he fell flat a lot. And reading up on it, and how we even talked about it, how they were saying, you know, the room itself, is a different room to talk in front of and say these type
Mm-hmm.
of jokes,
Yeah.
right? But when we were younger in the 80s or 90s, like look at, for example, Family Guy or um or South Park. Like if we were to watch certain episodes now, right? Or even some of the TV shows that we've been talking about on our Wednesday episodes, like some of the topics at hand on these shows push the envelope a lot.
Yes, they
And
do.
and the sensitivity level is very like non-existent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we were to say those things now, oh my God, people would have a cow. And they have. And a lot of people have been canceled because of it, right? And so feelings and how you feel, that kind of sensitivity is one thing, but I think as a whole and as a culture and just the times that we're in, we are just among a lot of people that are highly sensitive and very aware of how things make people feel. And I
Mm-hmm.
just think that it's something that we all should learn about and be aware that, you know, just be aware of how you also interpret and receive other people and realize that just because someone's quiet, just because someone's different, doesn't mean that there's something wrong with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's important because a lot of people are out of tune when it comes to that. And especially in comments on social media, people tend to be very rude and mean, and you never know how people feel and how people interpret and take things, and it could be taken in a way that's just doesn't make people feel good.
Yeah.
And so especially for little kids, I think that we need to teach kids to have a thick skin, but at the same time, I think we also need to teach kids to be kind of like you said, like with you, like, and I tell Presley that too. If you see a little kid that's a new student or someone that is by themselves in the lunchroom, like, go talk to them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no one should ever feel that way, you know? And it's important to show especially kids to embrace people like that, and you know that maybe all they needed was someone like you to go up to them and talk to them. It could change, like, I know for me, like if you're at a party and someone comes and talks to me, all of a sudden a sense of like okay, now I feel more better,
Yeah.
right? Like you're like, oh, okay, now you feel accepted,
Mm-hmm.
versus being that person in the corner no one's talking to.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to say in regards to that. But I did want to bring something up real quick. Jodie Foster, I don't know if you saw, she had an interview. I don't know if it was like with Good Morning America or something like that. And she just turned 60. And it was really cute what she said. If you have a chance, go and look at it. And she had mentioned that turning 60 was the best birthday that she ever had. And I was like,
Wow.
God, that gives me hope. And she was saying that turning 60 made her feel, I mean, in a roundabout way, it wasn't exactly, verbatim, but it was kind of like it made her feel like she had a I don't give a fuck kind of attitude.
That's
And
awesome.
everything that she worried about prior to, like, work, what people thought of her, all that stuff just went out the door.
That's
And
great.
I know, and turning 60 made her feel just alive. Like she's never felt so alive and herself in all her years. And I was like, oh my gosh, it was like, okay, we're in our 40s, but we have so much more to look forward to.
I mean, I'm gonna go watch that as soon as we log off. That sounds amazing.
I know, right? Because I think that
Yay.
we get so caught up in like ageism and like turning this, 50, 60, whatever. And it doesn't mean that, it's not a death trap. It's actually,
No.
as we get older, we get more comfortable with ourselves and we become more like, I don't care. Like, why should you care about other people? Why should you care what people think? And I
Mm,
just, it was a good, something nice to see. It was like, okay, we need to see more of that, especially in Hollywood.
it's so liberating. Ah, can't
Isn't it?
wait.
Oh, it's kind of like when Oprah would say that she was excited about being 40 or like 40s were the best years of her life.
Yeah.
I mean, 40 is not so bad,
Yeah, I'm having a blast. So yay.
right? For real. But anyways, anything you want to say, Steph, or
No, that was great. I think I hope that everyone takes a piece of this with them as they mosey on. We're still in the beginning of the year, and
I know.
yeah, this was great, Neen. Thank you so much for being so raw and candid with us.
Thank you. I just broke my pen. But thank you.
Okay.
But anyways, happy Friday, everybody. I enjoyed talking about that, and I can't wait to see what else like January has in store because it's only the middle ground of January.
I love it. I love it. And this was great. Thank you, Neen. Thank you, Fridays with Neen. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yes. Happy
And
Friday.
with that, I think, are you ready to do our, okay. Everybody, have a great Friday. Until next time, catch you on the flip side.
Peace out, buddies.
Don't be afraid to shed a tear. All right, then. Bye bye.